Hey everyone, Brown here. So I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard the news by now, but Henry Cavill is unfortunately out as Superman, and that's something that kind of bummed out or pissed off a lot of people, myself included, because I mean I honestly think that Henry Cavill was a really good Superman as well as Clark Kent. It's just I think that the movies he was in may have had issues with the script, more so with Batman versus Superman than say Man of Steel, because I actually thought Man of Steel was a good movie. I mean, it had its issues, but overall I thought it was a good solid movie. Whereas Batman versus Superman, if you saw the director's cut, it makes more sense, but there are still some issues. I mean, it's more like the director's cut was a solid movie, like 3 out of 5 stars in my opinion, much better than the theatrical version, but it still had its script issues. But Henry Cavill though was good as Superman / Clark Kent in those movies, and what we saw of him in Justice League, I mean, whether it be the Joss Whedon version or the Zack Snyder version, I honestly think that he was really good in the part, and I kind of made my peace with the fact that he wasn't going to be playing Superman anymore. Like the Snyder cut, it was kind of like the thing, the fans dream that came true, that was put out by the filmmakers, and so we got a glimpse of what could have been, and it's a bummer that that particular vision more than likely isn't going to happen. But at the same time, the fact that we got to see it in all its glory, I mean, I'm grateful that we got that much at least, and we got a glimpse of what it could have been with Henry Cavill as Superman again. And so after the Snyder cut, I was just kind of like, when it comes to comic book movies as of late, very seldom am I hit with say the enthusiasm that I once had with, say, like I mean, every now and then you get exceptions, like for DC, there was the Suicide Squad, the one that James Gunn directed, and then you had for Marvel you had Spider-Man No Way Home or Shang-Chi and stuff like that. And I mean, there are still some good movies that are coming out. It's just that a lot of the time, I mean, they're constantly trying to change things, revamp things, reboot things, making, characters that we've, seen grow and progress throughout the movies, suddenly being made into idiots, or acting out of character just to make another character look good, that kind of thing. So I'm not really enthusiastic about comic book movies, but like when Black Adam came out, I mean, I wanted to see that one because I remember years ago, I mean, people were talking about how Dwayne Johnson would be perfect as Black Adam. I mean, like, there was fan art and it was like, yeah, he would make a good Black Adam. And thankfully he'd gotten to a point where as an actor he could play that part or that type of role, and I really enjoyed it. I saw it with my mom and my brother, and the three of us had a blast with the movie, and I think it honestly was one of the best movies that DC had done, and it was definitely a step in the right direction for sure. And of course, that, I mean, I'm sure I'm not spoiling a whole lot now, since it's been out, but I mean, that end credit scene where Henry Cavill comes back as Superman, I mean, I heard it was going to happen, but when I actually saw it, I was just kind of like, whoa! I mean, not like out loud, literally, but like in my mind, yeah, the fanboy within was very happy. So, or I should say the comic fan, that sounds better. The comic fan within me was happy. Because, I mean, you hear all this stuff about how, Dwayne Johnson and others, had to, campaign really hard to get Henry Cavill back as Superman, and because other people in charge were like, no, we don't want him, even though the fans wanted him. Yes, I mean, I'm of the mind that the majority of the fan base wanted Henry Cavill back as Superman, because just about everyone I've talked to, regardless of the issues that they had with the movies that he was in, they agreed that he was a good Superman and he deserved, a chance to, be in a movie that had, a script that didn't have the issues that the other movies he was in had. And so, it's like, people were excited to see him, back as Superman, and they were genuinely looking forward to it. Further movies with him in it, or in them, I should say. And Black Adam, I mean, in my opinion, was definitely a step in the right direction. So, a lot of us, comic book fans were really psyched when, the news came out, that he was going to be in it. And then we actually saw it, you're like, yes, but unfortunately, that feeling of elation was not to last, because I found out today, like probably a lot of other people, or maybe even yesterday, but I found out today, that Henry Cavill is unfortunately not going to be back as Superman. It's like, you're in, then you're out. I mean, I've only read snippets of some of the articles about it, but the consensus seems to be that, one of the main reasons is, James Gunn, who jumped ship from Marvel to DC, is wanting to do his own Superman movie, but he's wanting to focus on a younger Superman. I don't know if this is going to be like, say, a reboot of Man of Steel, which I guess is just, I'm hoping that's not the case, because I actually liked Man of Steel. I'm hoping it's just one of those things where, I mean, it's a movie with a younger Superman, but it takes place, say for instance, those flashbacks in Man of Steel, when he's younger. I mean, a movie that it takes place, say, somewhere in the time of him being a teenager, or lower 20s or something like that. I mean, that would be interesting to see his growth and progression as a character. I'm not adverse to there being a movie like that, but to say do away with Henry Cavill altogether, I mean, it's like, it's stupid, because you had the fans, you had the support, you had the majority of the people wanted Henry Cavill back as Superman, and we got him for a few seconds, and it felt great. But then it's like, we get this news, and I'm not, against the idea of there being, a sort of Superman prequel movie, and I'm hoping it's not a reboot, because, I mean, it's like, how many times can you reboot something? I mean, it's stupid, and I'm not just saying that for DC, but I mean with Marvel as well. It's just, reboot. Anyway, though, but yeah, as far as like Henry Cavill's involvement with DC goes, I mean, he's done. I mean, he even, said on, I think it was his Twitter, that, his time, with the Cape is done, or something along those lines. And he said it's been really fun. And he thanked the fans and all that. So unfortunately, it is official. Which really bums me out, because, I mean, like I said, I honestly thought he did a really good job, and I was hoping that, with this, new change in creative teams, that, hey, he'd actually be given a chance to shine, that kind of thing. Like they, with the creative team that, was able to look at the movies that came before and say, okay, here's what worked, here's what didn't work. All right, let's actually, let's not only make a good story, but let's make a good script, and then let's put Henry Cavill in it, and he could pull it off. I was hoping we get to see something like that. I mean, there were so many things they could have done with him. Shoot, I mean, I was looking forward to seeing, something like, Henry Cavill's Superman going up against someone like Brainiac. I mean, I would love to see that live action. And I don't mean like TV show wise. I mean, on the big screen. I mean, that'd be amazing. I mean, shoot, you already had John Noble doing the voice of Brainiac in, I think it was Superman Unbound. I think that's what the animated movie was called. It was the one where Matt Bomer did the voice of Superman. Art-wise, I didn't really care for it, but voice acting-wise, it was very well done. So, I mean, Brainiac would be a good villain to have on the big screen. I mean, I was hoping that we get to see something like that, as opposed to just another thing with Lex Luthor or Doomsday or something. Or hell, even throw in Bizarro. I mean, Bizarro can be, well done. I mean, I haven't watched the show, but I've seen snippets of, I think it's called Superman and Lois, or Lois and Superman, one of the two. But where they brought in Bizarro, and Bizarro looked good and he sounded good. So it's like, if he works on the small screen, they could have done something with him on the big screen. I mean, there's so many things they could have done with Henry Cavill's Superman, and extended the lore and what have you. But unfortunately, it looks like it's not to be. I don't know if his version of Superman is going to be done away with altogether, with the whole Flashpoint thing coming up, and I mean, that's another mess altogether. I mean, because of course you got the whole controversy with Ezra Miller genuinely being a crazy person, and so it's like, okay, how many changes are they going to make to the DC universe in that movie? And I mean, yes, you could say, oh, we'll just use that as a loophole to do away with Henry Cavill's Superman, but I mean, that's a cop-out, okay? I mean, it's a freaking cop-out, and it's just I mean, guys, I mean, DC, whoever's listening, Warner Brothers, I mean, you had the fans in the palm of your hand just with a 15-second cameo in Black Adam, okay? I mean, you had our full support when that happened, but then you just dropped the ball. Like I said, I'm not averse to there being a Superman prequel movie with a different actor playing a younger version of Superman or Clark Kent. But to say, totally throw aside Henry Cavill, who is a fan favorite, and who is clearly eager to play the role, I mean, to throw him aside, just right after giving the fans, getting their hopes up. I mean, that's a dick move. I mean, yes, I know Hollywood business, but, Hollywood's bullshit these days. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, kind of pour one out for Henry Cavill's Superman. I mean, it was good while it lasted. I mean, it was an uneven ride, but at the same time, it was a fun ride, and I wish that we'd gotten to see more of him. But he was good in the time we had him as Superman, and he was a class act, a gentleman behind the scenes. It seems like, by all accounts, a good, solid dude. So I definitely wish him the best, in his career going forward. He's a good actor. I think, in time he'll find, work that, will be satisfactory for him, and, be good for the fans as well. So, but on the other hand, as far as Superman goes, I mean, I'm always going to like Superman, the character, regardless of who plays him. I mean, I got the comic books, or I have Superman comic books I can read, so it's not like, the comics are, that I personally have are ruined because of this. It's just, I'm always going to like the character, but it's a bummer that we don't get to see certain actors, further develop the role on the big screen. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Just, y'all got any feedback, or anything, feel free to drop a line, let me know you like what you see here. Please like and subscribe. I hope you all have a good day, and y'all take care. Bye.